And now when we came on this earth, and when we were raised by our mothers and our fathers, we fell in love with toys. We fell in love with our parents. We fell in love with chocolate. We eventually fell in love with other friends, games, video games, iPads. And we fell in love with the idea of a certain university. We fell in love with a girl or a guy, depending on the gender, by the way, relax. Okay, so we fell in love with the city that we want to move to. We fell in love with the idea of a job and the prestige that it will bring. We fell in love with making our parents proud. We keep falling in love with these beautiful things. You know what though? Behind each of these loves, there was a source code. Just like behind the mountain, there's a source code. Behind the beauty that you love, there's supposed to be something behind it. And that's who? That's Allah Azza wa Jal. Like each of those loves leaves you unsatisfied. Each one of them. Each one of them, at first it's the greatest thing ever, and then you're like, what else is there? Because you won't stop until you meet who? وَأَنَّ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ الْمُنْتَهَى. The ultimate end, the only stop is going to be when you meet Allah. Now I'm satisfied. That's when you understand, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنَّ الْقُلُوبِ. By remembering Allah, when Allah comes into the heart, you're at rest. Until Allah comes into the heart, there's always going to be imperfect beauty that you keep running after. It's like when they couldn't find Allah, they ended up loving lesser things the way they should have been loving Allah. When they couldn't find Allah. The tragedy is people don't think. People didn't seek Allah. They just fell in love with the product, not the source code behind that product. And so they love them as though Allah should be loved. يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. Ibn Ashur would argue about this ayah that كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ actually means they love them like believers love Allah. In other words, other people love stuff the way Muslims love Allah. I wish that was the case. I wish that was true. Because the next part of the ayah tells you, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. And those who truly have believed, they are more intense in their love for Allah. In other words, they're more intense in their love for Allah than anybody is in their love of anything else. Some kid who's obsessed with video games, their love for their games, their love for desire or temptation doesn't even compare with a true believer's love for Allah. The burning intensity a believer has for Allah, unmatched. You know how you tell when a love is more powerful than any other love? What it makes you do. If a guy is really crazy about a girl, he'll jump a fence. He'll climb up to a window. He'll get arrested. Happens, doesn't it? If somebody's really in love with something, they'll do whatever it takes to get it. Some kids are really in love or obsessed with the idea of getting into a college. They'll run away from home just to go there. Parents said, no, I'm going to go anyway. Love will make someone do crazy, crazy, crazy things. What is it that a believer is willing to do for Allah's love? For Allah's love, a believer is willing to sacrifice every other love. Everything that gets in the way. He loves those other things too. He loves his friends, and his friends are inviting him to a party. His love of Allah is so strong, he walks right away. Man, if you don't come now, I'm never calling you again. That's okay. That's all right. Best friend since childhood. His heart hurts, but that hurt is removed when he finds that I've lost a friend, but I've gained a much higher friend. You know? That's ashaddu hubban lillah. Oh, he's taking care of me. And you know, every time, I'll tell you, there are people and things in our life that we feel we have to run towards them at the expense of obeying Allah, at the expense of making Allah happy, and we run after those things because we think that those things and those people are going to bring us happiness. Without them, how will we be happy? Allah Azza wa Jalla is describing a very powerful mutual relationship. When you truly, truly fall in love with Allah, then Allah reciprocates that love. He loves you anyway. He's providing for you the sky and the earth and the rain and the water and the animals and the ships and the sea and all of that anyway. But when you go out of your way to show love to Allah, then that intimate, that love that Allah directs especially on you is something special over and above everything else that all of humanity enjoys. You get something special from Allah. But it doesn't come cheap. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. A price has to be paid. Love comes at a price. There's no such thing as love without sacrifice. When you love your mom, you sacrifice sleep for her, you take care of the groceries for her, you take care of the doctor's expenses and this and that. You never let her see the pain. because you want to take care of your mom. That loves make you sacrifice time with your own children, time with your own spouse. It make you do other things because there's a love of your mom. No love comes without sacrifice. And the more intense a love is, the more happily you sacrifice. And every time you sacrifice, it's not just to make them happy. Who does it make happy? It makes you happy. When you truly love Allah, then you and me obeying Allah will not be just to make Allah happy. You're going to find happiness only when you're obeying Allah. When you're not praying, you're going to feel like you're short of breath. You're going to feel like something is missing. This is وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ.